Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood. I'm delighted to be joined with James with his fantastic movie, Corners. Let's take a look at the clip.
In a healthy corner, when I push on the seams like this, my trapezius muscles, they fire up.
Is all of this necessary?
In my job, we don't cut corners. The health of a corner reflects the health of a building. A crack could signify a shift in the foundation. Heavy moisture, leak in the roof.
Why do you have to be so thorough? Just make it easier on everyone.
If something happened to the roof and it came down because I didn't do my job, I couldn't live with myself.
Are you all right? I want the new guy.
Mind stepping aside for a second?
I'm in the middle of something.
Hey, relax.
I used to breed hedgehogs. In the wild, they build the most elaborate nests.
James, delighted to have you here. Thank you for giving us something so unique and funny. It was a real joy. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
Yeah, it's a weird, really dry, sarcastic comedy about this guy, this really meticulous corner inspector who, in this particular world that I created, there's corner inspectors that are like mandated by the government to inspect the corners of buildings, like public buildings.
Yeah.
So there's this guy, Rory, who's played by Michael D. Cohen, our protagonist.
So good.
And Michael's amazing. And he is like super meticulous to the point where he's really annoying about how he inspects corners. And then he annoys Nancy, who's played by Linda Cash, who's the store manager that he's inspecting the corners of. And she just like gets really annoyed with him at how painstakingly slow he is and everything. And then she goes to replace him, and things get kind of crazy.
They do get crazy. But it's so nice when you see a unique comical idea. Also, I love the style of comedy. Obviously, Rory was brilliant protagonist, and Linda too, really very good. But like I've never seen anything like this, and now I'm very meticulous about my corners. I couldn't help it. So it's a really, really great idea, and the setting and how you orchestrated it was really, really clever. Where did the inspiration come for you? Did you get obsession for corners? Like, how did it all start for you?
I think that I did another little video, like just a couple hour shoot with my brother, who's not an actor, on speed bumps. And that kind of started me on this like really specific path of like workers, kind of construction workers, or people providing different services, but I like the idea of it being like really specific.
Yeah.
So it's like the guy that cleans the grooves on escalator 16 in the Glendale Galleria.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
that specific, and this person is like completely like immersed in like crazy about their job.
Yeah.
So I don't know I can't remember when I actually decided to do it on corners, but I think I wanted to pick something intentionally like really boring.
Yeah.
I'm just like, let's see, almost as an experiment for myself to be like, can I take something as boring and ridiculous as just corners and somehow craft this into like a funny and weird and absurd, entertaining story?
Now I want to see speed bumps and the grooves of escalators at Glendale Galleria too now. I'm like, you got me into it. But no, really, 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 really clever. And again, I love the style of comedy that you put together. But listen, because when you're doing a sort of a very sort of dry essence, and certainly being British, I can relate to it as well. Yeah. How do you go about directing something? How do you firstly bring your cast to it? How do you go about directing something like that? Because there's certain moments in there that you can't actually see in the script, but they've got to actually perform.
Yeah. I remember talking to Michael and everyone from the get-go about being like, we have to sell this. Like, this isn't funny. Like, just like play it like this is like we're 100% believe in everything you're saying. And Michael was just like all about it. Everyone was all about it.
Yeah.
Because it's too, like when I started casting for it, initially I knew right from the get-go that I needed actors with like really good dramatic chops, that were also funny, but that could sell it. If this was just this kind of hokey thing of like, oh, we're inspecting corners, whatever, it wouldn't work.
Yeah,
it would
yeah,
just be kind of
totally.
dumb. But Michael, I spent a lot of time finding Michael, and I was really surprised that he was into it because he does amazing, huge stuff, and he's an incredible actor. But he's been so supportive, and the way that he like sold it was incredible. And I would just, it's almost like all we had to do was have that conversation initially, and whenever we would talk about it, of like, let's just keep this as real as possible and sell it. And he was like right on board with it from day one. So
how was it? How difficult was it trying to find the most perfect or imperfect space that could have the best corners?
Yeah,
it was a great space, a great location you had.
You know what's funny? So that was really challenging, finding a location, because in my head, when I was writing it, I was basing it off of like a grocery store. And then like a couple months later, when I was like, okay, I'm gonna go out and start looking for locations in Canada, in Toronto, I went to the grocery store and I realized like every square inch is completely taken up by shelves,
Yes.
or refrigerators.
Yeah.
And I was like, uh-oh, what did I do
Yeah.
here? And I went to so many places inspecting their corners. So I became the corner inspector. I became the corner inspector.
Did you check the temperature as well? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it probably looked pretty weird because I'd like walk into a place and just like go straight for the corners and looking it up and down, and they're like, what the hell is this guy doing? You know? And I'm like, no, this one won't do. Like,
That's a movie in itself. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
But so I found this place, Cocoon Furnishings, which is a very high-end, amazing furniture store. And
That's funny, it's furnishings as well.
yeah. And it's funny, I didn't think that they would go for it because it was like, it's very fancy, like $20,000 couches. I don't know if we should put that kind of thing in,
Yeah.
but yeah, like the owner of it was incredible because he had made a short film when he was in college. And so when I approached him and I was like, Michael D. Cohen's on board, Linda Cash is on board, he was so excited to help because I think this was his, well, people helped me when I was
that's nice.
in college and making short films. But the funny thing about Cocoon was we couldn't use their corners either. It was a huge space. So they had fake corners everywhere. So it was this weird, like, you know, when you go into like IKEA and there's like fake fake rooms and all that. So where I was like, okay, well, which of these fake corners are we going to use?
Oh my gosh.
And then I also realized, how are we going to make this visually interesting?
Yeah.
Because the whole story just takes place in corners. So my DP, Danny Dunlop, who was like amazing and so helpful on this project, he did a really good job of making it visually interesting and not just
Film in a corner.
Yeah.
I always find it interesting when you go and make a film like this, especially when it's sort of got that sort of dry, deadpan, sort of darkish sort of comedy elements to it. You never quite know if people are going to laugh or find funny.
Yeah.
So what's the reaction been like? We love how NewFilmmakers LA. It's nice hearing people like surprise you when they find things funny, because it depends on their humor as well. How's the experience been for you traveling around with it?
I have this terrible thing where I'm sure like tons of filmmakers are like this, but it's so nerve-wracking watching your film with an audience because you're just like, oh no, nobody's laughing at that part. And it's like, it's very nerve-wracking. So it's been awesome, but I'm super, I don't know if neurotic is the word or what, but about watching it with other people. But I find that people from the audience always come up to me and say like, that was my exact type of humor. That's what I like. And it's weird because it's very specific what I'm doing and super dry and sarcastic. But I find even last night people were coming up to me and saying, that's my exact type of humor that I love. And I was like, oh, that makes me feel so good, because it's, you know, so much
Yeah.
of this is putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of a vulnerable thing, being like, oh, I made this thing that's like comes from my heart, and this is what I find funny. But you never know if it's going to connect with other people too.
And corners can be funny, you know. You found that one out. But it was obviously you're from Canada, based here.
Yeah.
But then in this, obviously, we had a Canadian cinema program. How was that, like, being part of a whole kind of expat Canadian program in Los Angeles?
It's really nice and really comforting. It's nice having, you know, Americans are amazing, Canadians are great, but there's something about having people from your home who you connect with, that you've grown up in the same area, that I find Canadians are very weird too.
I like weird though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
British people are very weird.
We're weird, is off the chart weird. Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
So it was great, like connecting with all these other Canadians, but being down here and everyone was excited to be here. I felt very fortunate that I'm like, oh wow, I live here now, and I can. It's not a far drive, but like seeing everybody else travel from huge distances, it's
amazing.
Yeah, and to meet everyone, there's so many talented filmmakers and great films. So yeah, it was really nice.
And what's next for you?
So this is one thing I can't get into too much about it for visa stuff, so don't put that in it. So I'll just say, I've been in development on my first feature-length documentary. So we've been kind of getting that together, and I've got a bunch of scripts, comedy scripts, features and series, a lot of them in the mockumentary world that I'm trying to get off the ground.
Well, you nailed that, you know, this area, so well done. Yeah.
Oh, cool! Thanks so much.
Any speed bumps or grooves of escalators? Is that coming soon? Or?
I hope so. I'm
Give a series of this, couldn't you? Really?
Yeah, I'm playing around with that idea, but it's like navigating. Being new here too is hard, navigating the industry, but that's what NewFilmmakers has been so amazing about, is it's helping and supporting, and all of your panels and introductions to different studio execs and representatives and all that has been really helpful for myself and all the other filmmakers.
Well, welcome to the family. We're very happy to have you here. I'm ready for whatever next project that you'll be working with us. But thank you very much for being part of it, and we're really grateful to have you, so thank you.
Awesome, thank you for including me.
Thank you, James, everybody. Yeah.